Well, let's jump right in. If you or a loved one are managing kidney health, the grocery store can feel like a total minefield. Suddenly, everything you love seems completely off limits. But in this explainer, we're throwing out the rule book that says a renal diet has to be strict, bland, and boring. We are going to transform those scary dietary restrictions into a totally vibrant, flavor-packed culinary adventure. Food isn't just about survival, you know. It's how we thrive. So, let's get into it.
Think about your kidneys for a second. They are basically your body's ultimate built-in filtration system, working around the clock to clear out waste from whatever we eat. But what actually happens when that heavy-duty system needs a break or just isn't working at full capacity? Well, waste builds up, fast. The really great news here is that by taking control of your kitchen, you can actually lighten the load and actively protect those vital natural filters.
So, here's our roadmap for today. We'll hit 1. The kidney diet basics. Then 2. The protein puzzle. 3. Hacking high potassium. 4. Flavor without the salt. And finally, 5. Top kidney superfoods. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's keep moving.
Section 1. The kidney diet basics and understanding your body's filters.
To really understand the stakes, we absolutely have to talk about hyperkalemia. You see, potassium is completely essential for your nerves and your muscles. But when damaged kidneys can't clear out the excess, it just builds up in your blood. And that is incredibly dangerous. Managing your potassium is quite literally a matter of the heart. Because severe hyperkalemia, that can actually trigger an irregular heartbeat or even a full-on heart attack. This is exactly why your diet is your absolute first line of defense.
To defend those kidneys, you have to keep a hawk eye on the big 4 nutrients. We're talking about sodium, which you've got to keep under 2.3 grams a day. Then there's potassium and phosphorus, both of which need to stay within normal ranges to avoid some pretty nasty bone and heart issues down the line. And finally, protein. If you don't manage these, that waste buildup can cause everything from nausea to total exhaustion. But protein is a totally different beast. It requires some really strict, specific adjustments based on your CKD stage.
Which brings us right to Section 2, the protein puzzle, a conditional dietary rule.
So here is the paradox. Unlike sodium, where the rule is pretty much just eat less, the rules around protein completely flip depending on your treatment. If you are not on dialysis, you actually want to limit your protein. Why? Because digesting protein creates waste, so limiting it gives your kidneys a much-needed rest. But the second you start dialysis, everything changes. Dialysis physically scrubs that protein waste from your blood. So if you're on dialysis, you actually have to increase your protein intake to prevent malnutrition and keep your blood levels stable. Wild, right?
No matter which side of that dialysis divide you're on, the type of protein you eat is a massive deal. Plant-based proteins are basically the gold standard here. We're talking beans, lentils, nuts, and seeds. They're way lower in saturated fat than meat, and they're packed with fiber. In fact, studies show that leaning into plant-based foods can literally help slow down the loss of kidney function over time.
All right, let's get to the fun part. Section 3, hacking high potassium, the potato rescue.
Get this, 700 plus. Just one single small baked potato is packing over 700 milligrams of potassium. If you're strictly limiting your potassium intake, that is a massive, incredibly dangerous hit for just a tiny side dish. You're probably thinking, well, guess I'm never eating a potato again. But hold that thought.
You can completely hack this medical restriction using a really simple kitchen trick called leaching. It's so easy. Step 1, cut that potato into really small pieces, slice it super thin, or just grate it. Step 2, soak all those pieces in a giant bowl of water. And step 3, boil them in a large pot for at least 10 minutes. What you're doing here is literally pulling that dangerous, water-soluble potassium right out of the potato.
And the results are absolutely incredible. By just boiling them that way, you slash the potassium down to maybe 100 to 200 milligrams for a half-cup serving. That's a huge drop. It just proves that with a little smart prep and basic portion control, you don't have to banish your favorite foods forever. You just have to outsmart them.
Moving right along to Section 4, flavor without the salt, spicing things up safely.
Okay, before we talk about making things taste amazing without salt, we need to talk about a huge trap in the grocery aisle. A lot of people try to be healthy by grabbing those popular salt substitutes. Do not do this without checking the label. Tons of these products replace the sodium with potassium chloride. And, as we just covered, if your kidneys are already struggling to process potassium, dumping a concentrated dose of it onto your dinner is a massive red flag. Honestly, it can be way more harmful to your kidneys than just eating regular salt.
So skip the risky substitutes and lean into the holy trinity of salt-free flavor: garlic, onions, and olive oil. Fun fact, olive oil is entirely phosphorus-free and loaded with anti-inflammatory fats. Mix that base up with a squeeze of fresh lemon juice, some fresh rosemary or thyme, maybe a sharp kick of ginger. You can whip up marinades and rubs that are so incredibly vibrant, you won't even remember what salt tastes like.
And that brings us to Section 5, Top Kidney Superfoods, your vibrant culinary menu. Get your grocery list ready.
Let's rapid-fire some of the best kidney-friendly ingredients out there, starting with our cruciferous cousins, cauliflower and cabbage. Cauliflower is amazing because you can boil it and mash it as a super safe, low-potassium swap for regular mashed potatoes. And cabbage, shredding some of that into a slaw gives you this great crunch, plus it's loaded with bioactive compounds that actively help manage blood sugar and cut down on oxidative stress. Now, what if you want a snack? You might assume nuts are completely off limits because they usually have sky-high phosphorus levels. But here's a secret. Macadamia nuts are the ultimate exception. They have a fraction of the phosphorus and potassium compared to almonds or peanuts. So you get that satisfying crunch, plus a ton of healthy fats and magnesium, totally guilt-free. Next up, the berry powerhouses, cranberries and blueberries. Throwing just a half cup of these into your morning routine keeps your sodium and phosphorus in check while delivering a massive payload of antioxidants. And cranberries are especially brilliant because they have specific compounds that protect you from urinary tract infections. That's a huge deal because UTIs can easily trigger some really nasty kidney complications.
Finally, let's talk about shiitake mushrooms. If you are watching your protein, but you still really want that hearty, meaty bite, shiitakes are a total game changer. They give you this deep, rich, savory umami flavor, but they are way lower in potassium, sodium, and phosphorus than your standard white button or portobello mushrooms.
So it all comes back to this quote. Kidney-friendly meals and snacks don't need to be bland to work for you and your diet. Look, yes, kidney disease means you have to be super strict about managing your nutrients. That's just a reality. But once you know how to leverage clever prep techniques, like leaching those potatoes, and you know which superfoods to look for, you can absolutely protect your kidneys while eating some of the most delicious meals of your life.
We've uncovered so much in this explainer today, from dodging hidden potassium traps to unlocking the culinary power of macadamia nuts and shiitake mushrooms. You now have over 40 amazing kidney-safe ingredients on your radar, so the only thing left to ask yourself is, which flavor-packed, kidney-saving masterpiece are you going to conquer in your kitchen tonight?